Hi everybody, Scott here from the Introvert Power channel. In this video I'm going to give an INFJ's take of ENTPs. Now, one word people often use to describe the ENTP is visionary. However, I think what's unique about ENTPs is that they are the vision. Whereas, people might say, oh, so-and-so carries the vision, or, there'll be other types that, state the vision in the sense of, this is the goal, these are the points, and like in quite a bit of detail. The ENTP essentially encapsulates the vision. So it's like they speak, eat, breathe, think, action the vision. I think for people that work for ENTPs, that can be a sort of a helpful way of seeing them, because often there's not a lot of structure that comes from them. So you can kind of get a sense of the direction of things by observing them. That they are essentially sort of actualizing the vision by being themselves. So it's like ENTPs. They're like a one-person symphony. It's like they are a symphony. In a way, what I mean is like their ideas, all of their ideas come together to form a piece of music. And when I think of them, I sort of picture like those old antique record players with the speaker that sort of comes out the side. However, it's like that funnel is absorbing ideas. It's taking in information into the speaker, or whatever that thing's called, the funnel. It's like it comes into them, and then sort of travels down to the needle, and it's like the needle and the groove in the record player is like their introverted thinking. It's kind of like where everything gets synthesized. It's where everything comes together. That TI formulates all of those ideas into a piece of music, and i.e. the vision. And the groove in the record player, for a healthy ENTP, is kind of like keeps that music on track. It keeps it. It keeps that piece of music on track, like going along the groove. The funnel is like NE, and the needle is TI, where it formulates all of those ideas into a piece of music, and then in a sense that record player, if you like, and everything that it does with that piece of music is the ENTP. So it's like it comes in, it's formulated into a piece of music, and then it goes out of them in just who they are. ENTPs are known for being individuals, for prizing autonomy, and I think that's what helps them to kind of carry their vision, carry their symphony, is their ability to sort of stand alone, carrying their piece of music, carrying who they are. And it's like I kind of picture an ENTP, like if you picture them sort of walking down the street, playing their piece of music, being themselves, being the vision, and they come across people that might have a piece of music that fits their symphony, and it's like they can just naturally sort of see the other person's giftings or abilities, and see how that can play into the ENTP symphony, and will kind of just naturally want to gather them into sort of playing a part in the symphony, and could gather all sorts of different people around them to play their various piece of music. And I think when that happens for people that have that happen to them, it can happen very naturally. It's because the ENTP is speaking into a truth an ability in the other person, and so they can naturally just come on board and play a part in the ENTP's vision. And the ENTP is very intentional about that. However, they can be, it's kind of like when you've got 6 or 7 violinists, you can replace one, or you can take one out, and you wouldn't notice a huge amount of difference. And so the ENTP can easily easily dismiss somebody's part when they sort of sense that it's either not needed in the symphony, or somebody else can replace that part quite easily. And so a person can kind of find themselves not in that symphony anymore quite easily. And I don't want to say that from like ENTPs are conniving or manipulative or malicious or anything like that. I don't think there's any ill intent when an ENTP either gathers someone in to support the vision, or sort of naturally moves on from a person who might have been playing a part, or just maybe the ENTP doesn't see that maybe they had the role in the symphony that they thought they would have in the vision that they thought they would have. And so the ENTP can easily just move on without without any real worry or distress. For people that can happen to, that could feel hurtful, that could feel discarded or overlooked. But I don't think it's like a deliberate rejection. I think it's just I think it's all about intent. I don't think the ENTP in those environments is intentionally wanting to reject or get rid of, sort of thing. I think the ENTP just moving forward in their vision and continuing along their path. However, I think it's probably worthwhile ENTPs just recognizing that they could have that impact on somebody else. That they could feel both highly prized one minute and not really valued the next, or down the track, just because of the ENTP sort of actualizing themselves in their vision, and people come and go from that vision as the ENTP sort of is building their vision, building and sort of playing out their piece of music. And I think ENTPs are really sensitive to that piece of music that they're carrying, the vision that they are and are carrying. Very sensitive to an idea that doesn't quite fit, in a sense, an instrument that doesn't quite fit or is no longer fitting. So if ENTPs, if their vision is kind of like a symphony, like an orchestra, then they'll be really sensitive. It's like their core is the conductor, and they'll be very sensitive when an idea is not working, when a part of their logical system is no longer working, or there's something better to replace it. Very sensitive to that. So it's kind of like using the orchestra metaphor. It's like they can take an instrument out, i.e. an idea out, a part of their system out, and put something else in to replace that will make the symphony sound better and be and play itself out better, i.e. their vision and their direction will better actualize when they make those tweaks. So they're very sensitive to when the system is out of whack, and will very naturally seek to correct that very quickly. Maybe even, most likely, before anybody even notices that the symphony, like something's not working in the piece of music. Before anyone notices that something's wrong in the system, they're already addressing it. So an underdeveloped NE will essentially lead to not enough information coming in to formulate those ideas. They're kind of like, rather than kind of skyscraper ideas. You know, if a skyscraper is a representation of their system, if they've got underdeveloped NE, it's kind of like they've just been able to develop the scaffolding around the structure of the building, but haven't been able to really kind of lay out the floor and fill out the rooms with their thoughts and ideas. It's kind of like just the scaffolding is there, which means their ideas are unfinished. Essentially, their system, their vision, if you like, that they carry is unfinished. On the other side of that is if their TI isn't developed enough, then they're bouncing around a whole lot of ideas, not being able to sort of funnel all of that information into their TI to kind of break it all down and in a sense fill that skyscraper with ideas and furniture and all the things that make up a useful skyscraper. And so they can be really bouncing around ideas and not and getting excited about each idea without really filling those ideas out. And I think that's where the ADHD misdiagnosis, if you like, can come in, just the way it looks from the outside. And using the antique record player analogy, for someone with underdeveloped NE and TI, it's kind of like that the groove that the needle sits in is jumping around a lot on the record, jumping to different tracks, jumping to different ideas, and not able to sort of take a sort of a whole range of ideas into that TI to break it all down to formulate a whole, if you like a whole song, a whole symphony, a whole piece of music. Moving on to marital relationships, I think that's where an ENTP's tertiary FE function comes in, is about encouraging that third function to be in tune with the other. It's kind of like, you could almost say the FE is like the relationship function for the ENTP, trying to just strengthen its ability to hone in on the emotional reality that others might be experiencing, and the more an ENTP is able to pick up the emotional reality of others, the better their relationships will be in their personal life. Their vision and their inventing, if you like, will pretty much take care of itself in their NE and TI if it's developed. It in a sense, that isn't the problem. It's only the problem when that third function is being neglected. And it's kind of like, it's like the relationship function. So learning to tune in emotionally to the realm of the other person will kind of part of the actualization of the ENTP, sort of building those closer relationships, and tuning into them a little more, like listening to that FE, if you like. I think the introverted sensing inferior function operates very similar to the ENFP, in the fact that they both have introverted sensing as their inferior function. So I'll leave a link to that video where I go into the inferior Si function for the ENFP. But to just maybe talk a little bit about it here, for the ENTP, that introverted sensing function, it's kind of, because it's inferior, it's like the ENTP is like they're having an outer body experience most of the time when they're in their vision and ideas. So the more they're not in their body, if you like, the greater they're able to actualize who they are, actualize their vision. However, it's like the ENTP needs to stay somewhat connected to their body, otherwise it'll have that in the grip SI reaction. It'll bite back essentially. So it's like the discipline of the ENTP is keeping like one foot in their body, if you like, and the rest of them out in their vision and in actualizing their vision. Otherwise, their body will bite back. They'll have potentially somatic, body issues, potential burnout by not taking care of the body, not having enough rest and downtime. And I think part of the ENTP's growth and actualization is that SI is kind of like can be stayed connected to by participating in some routine in the family home, if they're married or in a relationship. So participating in the routine of life, even if it's just a little bit, is both going to develop the relationship, because there'll be the appreciation of the ENTP being involved in the family home, but also it will help I think it'll help the ENTP to be a bit more in the present. It's like it's in the present, because I know SI is sort of more about the past, but I think it's also about doing, that whole thing of doing things the way it's always been done, which goes utterly against the ENTP. So, participating in some daily routine, which you could say is like an SI, is part of SI, kind of helps to keep them a little bit grounded. It's going to improve the home functionality. It's going to improve the relationship at home. It's going to keep them in their body to some extent, which will then help them to stay connected and not lose sight of lose touch, I guess, with their body, which will help to avoid burnout, or avoid either real or imagined, if you like, physical ailments that will come through when the body is feeling neglected. Just in regards to the shadow function, the sixth shadow function in extroverted thinking, it's like, the ENTP doesn't like being told what to do. Very much prizes autonomy and being an individual. I wonder if when an ENTP has it like almost like a sixth function in the group reaction, if it's like they become like a dictator, instead of sort of actualizing their vision very actively but not aggressively. I think that's one thing I've noticed about ENTPs is that I wouldn't say that they're aggressive or pushy in the sense of dictatorial. I think they develop people's enthusiasm and speak to people's strengths and their abilities, and so people naturally want to come on board with the ENTP. However, I wonder sometimes if they're really stressed and they're feeling backed into a corner, if they can sort of tap into that shadow function and become very, very dictatorial through a TE shadow function, become very hostile and aggressive in the sense of being more direct about getting things done, as opposed to influence and inspiration, inspiring people to get things done. So my hope is that ENTPs watching have resonated with what I'm saying. Certainly would welcome sort of feedback if you feel as though the video is on point, or maybe there's areas that aren't on point. And I really hope that those that have ENTPs in their life would hopefully get something out of this video in regards to how they see the ENTP in their lives going forward. So I wonder what it is that you appreciate about ENTPs. Feel free to leave your comments in the description. I appreciate it if you found some aspect of this video illuminating or helpful or insightful, that you would give the video a thumbs up, even share the video around to those that you think might benefit from the video. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in another video.